Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Greg here today, bringing you guys the Krovnik Farmland map breakdown. This is going to be going over all my strategies for Krovnik Farmland, as well as the spawns. And whenever we get to some of these things, there's a few things I'm going to mention, so I'll be sure to break that down. But for the meantime, let's go ahead and just go over what the key terms mean so you guys understand that, and then we will get further into breaking down each different category and talking about it. Snipers is basically the positions where you'll be seeing snipers sitting in, and this is where they'll be able to take you out from, or you can take them out from. Spawns are basically rough spawn points of where people are going to be spawning in at whenever they click on a flag to spawn in. An asterisk will tell you that that is an estimation, but it is not a confirmed spawn point. Flanks are routes that are used for least resistance. Streak routes are areas that you can go to the start of the game and you can get a lot of kills racked up pretty quickly, which means fast kill streaks. Lastly, power positions are areas where you can pick people off from advantageous cover. So starting off, let's take a look at the sniper positions here for Krovnik Farmland. Now, I have two question marks on each side of the fields, and the reason is there's really no exact point where snipers are going to sit in the woods and the open field on the right. The reason being is just such an open area, and people are just going to tend to go wherever they're going to see people at. So yes, there will be people always out in left or right field with snipers, but usually only a couple at a time. The other areas, as you guys can see, basically they're just buildings, and if I put an X, that means it's generally like a window or just one way. People can just hop up on something and just look, and that's just going to be the direction they're going to be looking at. So that's really what the snipers mean, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Moving on to our A flanks, basically you're going to want to take all the way out left and then try to go in towards B, D, or E, depending on which way you are. These are probably going to be more resistant just because it's closer into the map, and a lot of people tend to be looking over B or D, so they'll see your vehicle or just you running out in the distance, and I honestly would just say that this is probably not the best flank route, but the absolute best one is on the right, where you can get into a lot of different building areas, and if you take your vehicle all the way out, you have cover from the hill, and basically you can go all the way out towards E, and it's just a really good flank to regain map control, and flanks are very important on this map, so make sure that you are using these if you're getting spawn trapped. Moving on to our E flanks, as we can see here, the left side is just going to be going to B, just a way just to get into B. Going all the way down to A, you're running the risk of people that are sniping out in the field, so you don't really want to do that. Although you can run them over, which is pretty easy, but if they do snipe you, you're going to have to redo it all over again, and you just lost a vehicle for your team to push up. The right side, yet again, is just great because you have the mountain as cover, and you can go all the way down to the AHQ, which, as you guys can see, I can tell you that that is a great spot for spawn trapping them at A if they have A as one of their flags, or if they're spawning at the AHQ. It's just, yet again, such a great area for you guys to be able to spawn trap them from cover. Our A streak routes are pretty straightforward. Basically, you're going to take a vehicle and go all the way around to D and either sit in that building, or you're going to take it to the right and you're going to go to the other building that's a D. If you go to the one on the left side, that one will look over E, and you'll be able to pick people off that are coming in from E, and you should be able to streak up pretty quickly. However, if you go to the one on the right, if they have E and D, or even C and D, and you take this even during the mid game, you can absolutely destroy people that are spawning in at both D and C and get a very fast kill streak for your team. So keep that in mind whenever you are playing throughout this map. Our E streak routes have a little bit more opportunity here, so basically we're going to be taking on the left all the way down to B, and that B building can look over people that are coming into A, as well as maybe out in the field. And then if we take the other side, basically we can go up to the building. If they already have B, then we can patrol one of those two buildings I have marked, depending on where they're going to be positioned. And then if they are still at A and you get there really quickly, you can go all the way down to our spawn trapping area, and you can pick people off as they're rotating in out of A or even from the HQ, which again is going to give you guys very fast kill streaks, so I'd highly recommend taking a look at this area. Now, the spawns on this map, most people are going to be spawning on their teammates whenever it comes to this map. The only areas you're really ever going to see people spawning in on the flags are going to be B, C, and occasionally D. E and A you just generally don't run into too many people that are going to be running or spawning into the flags. What you're going to be seeing is the people that are stragglers out in the distance and stuff like that. They're going to be spawning on their teammates, just because the spawn traps in this game, if you push from a flag, so let's say A or E, there's so much open space and you're just going to get mauled by people that are sitting in buildings and stuff like that. So that's why I have the asterisks put into place on some of these spawn points, because I don't really know the exact locations, but those are my rough estimates from my playtime. And I would say that, again, like I said, most people are not going to be spawning in on the flag unless it's their last flag or if they just really have to. Most people are going to be sticking with their teammates on this map, so make sure you keep that knowledge in mind whenever you're trying to find where the enemies are going to be. Last but not least, we're going to be taking a look at the power positions. The power positions on this map, I'm going to be completely honest with you, there's so many of them, and that's for a good reason. So basically, you're going to want to know what flags the enemies have, and then you're going to want to go to a power position according to what flag the enemy has. Now, you also want to keep the spawns in mind, but you also want to keep the squad spawns in mind, and you want to know where squads are going to be located. So UAVs and advanced UAVs are extremely powerful on this map, especially if people are going to be going on flanks. You're trying to keep them more concentrated into one area. So again, you running a UAV or an advanced UAV on this map is crucial for knowing where enemies are going to be, especially whenever it comes to the squad spawn system, and that's really going to help you determine which power position you need to be at what moment. Anyways, moving on over to the gameplay side of things here. As you guys can see, I'm pushing A. This was almost a DEF CON that was about to happen, but it actually didn't. So what you guys will be watching here is a tactical nuke streak I ended up getting. I was using the Predator missile, the VTOL jet, and the advanced UAV. The reason I was doing this was actually not with the nuke in mind or anything like that. If you guys don't know who I am, I really just don't tend to go for nukes. I have about 122 of them, but I prefer to actually run cruise missile VTOL and advanced, or just like VTOL White Foss advanced, just something like that, and actually use kill chain, so that way I can be earning more advanced UAVs for my team. And I like to actually die before I call up my advanced, or sometimes I'll call up my advanced, and if I die, I'll try to go for another one while that one's still up. Basically, I like to go for kill streaks to help out my teammates. But anyways, what I'm doing here is I'm basically pushing up this power position here, which this is the building that I had listed as one of my power positions. And the reason this building is so good is because, yet again, you're going to be in the middle of all the action. This is some very fast pacing for getting a lot of kills and where people are going to be spawning in. As you guys can see, there's a lot of squad spawns going on out in their headquarters right now, and there's so many people that are just pushing up. Now, one of the things that you guys will notice is they actually end up taking a flag, which is what happens whenever someone gets a vehicle and is able to make it through, and they push basically all the way up to one of our flags, and they're able to take it, and that's what's going to keep them in the game, which is also what allows me to get the tactical nuke streak. I called up my advanced UAV because I kind of figured that we were going to end the game, and I figured might as well not have it go to waste, but they end up taking B. And I think that's because the majority of our team here is pushed up towards A, and this is when things can go sour, okay? If you guys are DEF-conning someone and you see people are slipping through the cracks, you want to make sure you're going back. You don't want to be having all of your teammates, or just even, if you're one of those teammates, you don't want to just be sitting there the entire time, and stay there. If a flag gets captured, you go back towards that flag, or you call in some kill streaks to help out the teammates that will go ahead and assault that flag. But you want to make sure that you are going back and clearing out the enemies that are on those flags, as well as making sure they are not going to be getting too many flags, because you can end up getting DEF-CON'd, and the entire map can then be flipped to the enemy's control, right? All the control of the map can go into their hands, basically, right after they break through the cracks on this map and start capturing a flag. Let's say I'm in this position right here at A, right? And let's say the enemies grab a vehicle, like I showed you guys with those flank routes, and they take a vehicle all the way to E. Well, if they cap E, then they can go ahead and make their way to D, C, and so on, and before your team can really even come all the way back to the flags, you're going to get screwed over by all the amount of captures and how many people are actually be spawning on those flags instead of their HQ. So that's something that can happen on this map, and it happens very often whenever I'm playing. Is basically someone lets a vehicle escape the spawn during a DEF CON, or even just a spawn trap in general, and then that flanker is able to basically get their team back into the game. And sometimes there are some crazy comebacks that can happen from that, and you will see that people might streak up because they're going to be killing anyone or all you guys that are up at A or E or whatever, and they're going to start killing you from behind, and it just happens, and you basically have just completely lost map control. So it's very important you're watching out for flankers. That's why the UAV and advanced UAV is very important, making sure that you keep the enemies in front of you and not behind you. But anyways, right here, I'm at this B flag, and again, I know that there are some squad spawns going on in this building right here, so that's why I'm looking in this building looking for some kills. I'm 10 kills away from my tactical nuke, which can give us a free win if I end up getting it, although we were probably going to win this game anyways, but it's, of course, just nice to sometimes just go ahead and get that nuke for the team. I was also using this M4A1 class setup, which I'm not going to put on the screen simply because I don't have the game loaded up right now or anything, but I'll tell you guys the setup anyways. There's monolithic suppressor, the Merc foregrip, the M16 barrel, the 50 round magazine, and stippled grip tape. This is basically one of my normal M4A1 class setups. I think it's really good, especially for ground war. I normally don't like to use the M4A1 just because it's such an easy gun. As you guys can see, I didn't even have my Damascus camo on this. It's because I don't actually ever really have an M4A1 class setup. I actually put this on. I just told my friend, you know what, I haven't used the M4 in so long, let me just see how easy it is. I need to be reminded of how easy this gun is to use. So I ended up putting it on, and to make it even a little bit more difficult, I decided to put on the M16 iron sights or whatever from the OG variant, just because they're very clean without this. So yeah, I figured, you know, maybe it will just make it just that much more difficult, but no, there is no such thing as difficult with the M4. But anyways, moving on, as you guys can see right here, they have C and our team's trying to take it, so they're still going to be spawning around here until we are able to completely take, or just start like stepping on the flag and capturing it. So now that it's being captured, I know that the enemies have A as their HQ, and they have A and B right now as their flags, so I'm able to basically just pick these people off. And I know that everyone's basically be in front of me, especially the way our team is positioned. Hopefully there wouldn't be anyone out in the distance, but I ended up picking up the tactical nuke right there to end the game. So yeah, that was basically just a quick little nuke streak, and yeah, that's Krovnik Farmland. Hopefully you guys learned something from the guide. I'll have some more gameplays hopefully coming up some more, and I can continue to break down this map for you guys, but I just want to give you guys the overview today, and I know you guys have been enjoying this, so I'm glad that you guys like the series. And yeah, next week we'll probably do Promenade or Boneyard, and or not Promenade, what's the map called? Port of Verdansk, either Port or Boneyard, so hopefully we will get that one out by next Sunday, and I will see you guys all in the next video. So I thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. Peace out.